What happened at the inquest?
Murder by person or persons unknown. Well, we all knew that, didn't we? I should have given evidence. But I should have been asked. I have pertinent facts to offer. Oh.
Ladies?
He's going to see the Lestrange woman. Perhaps she's unwell again.
I didn't mean you to get up.
Today, I felt frightened for the first time.
I wish now
I suppose if one's father's been murdered, one might not want to... What? Lettuce, a dreadful child. She wasn't at the inquest, that's all. Hardly a child. She's old enough to be a little T-A-R-T. Like daughter, like mother. Well, stepmother.
The tea, Vicar.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, are you sure you won't stay for tea, Mr. Hawes?
What? No, thank you. No, thank you.
Yes. Oh, dear.
Well, for all inquests like that, I was expecting the whole thing to be much more detailed.
The police played their cards very close to their chests, don't you think, Miss Marple?
Well, such cards as they possess. Inspector Slack isn't very good at listening. No doubt he'll learn. In a village, one can learn a great deal by listening.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you.
Just a minute. Wait for it. Yes. 5:30, Colonel and Mrs. Prothero leave out Hall by car. At approximately the same time, the vicar receives a hoax phone call to go to Abbott's farm.
And his car had been tampered with, right. So he's out the vicarage by 20 to 6, say.
Yes. Between 10 past and 6:15, Colonel Prothero arrives at the vicarage. He's shown through to the study. And about 5 minutes later, his wife turns up, comes via the garden going towards the study.
On Miss Marple's authority without a gun? Yes.
But almost immediately comes back and goes across to the studio. A couple of minutes later, her lover Redding turns up. They both remain in the studio.
And the shot comes 10 minutes later. Good. And Miss Marple saw all this in her garden the whole time.
The police didn't even mention the clock.
Well, it would only have confused things. It had obviously been tampered with, so as evidence it was quite useless. No, it was their treatment of the note by the body that surprised me.
The handwriting expert seemed to know his onions.
Oh, yes. It was obviously a forgery, but we didn't need an expert to tell us that. No, the thing was all wrong anyhow.
How do you mean?
Well, do you remember what it said? Dear Clement, I'm afraid I can't wait any longer. Well, that's nonsense. He'd only been there a few minutes. No, it was a forgery. Rather a clumsy one. I'm afraid we're not dealing with anyone with any degree of subtlety.
Right. If we've proved that the Prothero widow and her fancy boy Redding couldn't have done it, who does that leave? Prothero's daughter, Lettice, out playing tennis. Claims she can't remember when she left. Other witnesses prove that she had time to get there and do it. Loathed his guts. Stands to inherit. Then that woman Lestrange visited Prothero the day before. Servants overheard some kind of shouting match. Obviously, there's a connection. And she had opportunity. Haydock. He had opportunity, of course. I can't see the motive. So...
If we are assuming that the Colonel was shot while I was in my garden, well, then the murderer must have come through the kitchen door, or, well...
What, Miss Marple?
have already been in the house.
Excuse me, sir.
What?
The gun, sir.
What about it?
Well, it was nicked from Redding's studio, wasn't it? Well, the vicar's maid cleans the place. And the colonel threatened to chuck that Archer bloke back in Chokey for poaching. He was only out on parole and he had a bad time inside, they say.